Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Texan Entertainment News. I'm Aimee Nash, and today my co-host Jack Cochran and I have a very special episode for you today. Let's go ahead and jump in. The news industry has had a lot of talk running around the past few days, both about real and fake news anchors, with the announcement of the suspension of Brian Williams from NBC's Nightly News and Jon Stewart, host of Comedy Central's The Daily Show. Williams joined NBC in 1993 and became news anchor of the Nightly News in 2004. His suspension was based on the fact that he stretched the truth about his experience covering the Iraq War in 2003. His suspension resulted in 6 months with no pay, and his return to anchoring, according to the Associated Press, is open to doubt. Jon Stewart made his debut on The Daily Show in 1999 after taking over for Craig Kilborn, who released the show just 3 years earlier. After the 16-year run, Stewart opened up that he will be leaving Comedy Central later this year. He concluded his show on February 10th with the statement, "You get in this business with the idea that maybe you have a point of view and something to express, and to receive feedback from that is the greatest feeling I could ask for, and I thank you." In other news, CBS's longtime 60 Minutes correspondent Bob Simon died in a car crash on February 11th. Simon, who was 73, had dedicated almost 50 years to the news broadcast industry and was considered a reporter's reporter. Majority of his content included stories from overseas, covering stories that stretched from the Vietnam to the Iraq War. Some of his stories included some not-so-friendly encounters, however. He was kidnapped in Iraq and beaten in Belfast, just to name a couple. The CBS News magazine is scheduled to have a full tribute to Simon on February 22nd. David Carr, columnist for the New York Times, died Thursday, February 12th after collapsing in the Times newsroom and was rushed to St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital. Dean Banquet, the Times executive editor, wrote in an email informing staff members of the incident that Carr was the finest media reporter of his generation, a remarkable and funny man who was one of the leaders of our newsroom. Carr joined the Times in 2002 and 6 years later published a memoir titled The Night of the Gun. In his book, Carr reflects on a struggle dealing with crack cocaine in the late 1980s, as well as surviving cancer. He was well known for being a cultural subject writer and news analyst, which included his documentary titled Page One, Inside the New York Times. In the film, he is seen reporting news stories for the Times, as well as defending quoted offhand insults against the paper. He died in Manhattan at the age of 58. Now, to make light of the situations that have occurred over the last few days, we have a very special interview for you guys. You may recognize our next guest on the show if you enjoyed a certain concert that was interrupted by a pretty big football game a couple weeks ago. Take it away, Jack.
Howdy, welcome to Texan Entertainment News. My name is Jack Cochran, and I'm your host today, and here I'm with Ryan Scott. Ryan here did something really interesting during the Super Bowl. Would you mind telling everybody, Ryan?
Yeah, I was one of the palm trees in the Super Bowl halftime show with Katy Perry.
So how did that happen?
The band director for the ASU marching band actually posted on our Facebook group. He's like, "Hey, we need 6 foot tall plus slim guys." And I was like, "Well, I fit that category," so I kind of it was a first come first serve, and I just responded fast enough to him.
So,
and that's how it happened.
Was there an audition? Was there tryouts or anything?
Nope, just fit the details I wanted.
Did they do any sort of training, choreography, like this is exactly what you must do?
They just told us, first they told us we needed to sway, but then they're like, "No, you gotta bounce." And that's, that's about the practice we had before leading up to it, was just kind of practicing the bouncing and, choreography, but no audition, no anything like that.
So how many days ahead of time was this that you signed up for it?
Probably, I want to say a month ahead.
Okay, so you had time to prepare and watch documentaries about palm trees.
It was just like, I signed up for something, and I was part of Propscast. That's all I knew at the time.
So did you actually get to meet Katy Perry during the whole process?
Yeah.
Sounds really awesome. You said that you had other friends that did it. Were these other friends that you were with in the marching band?
Yeah, they were. All the palm trees were from the ASU marching band.
Was that the same for the Sharks as well?
Originally, the Sharks were Mesa Community College dancers, but then Katy Perry felt more comfortable with her own people in the Shark suits. So around the Tuesday or Wednesday before the Super Bowl, she switched them with her people.
So, if you wouldn't mind, walk us through your day, Super Bowl Sunday, how that all went down, like from starting to get ready for the show through the show. Was there anything like unexpected or interesting that happened?
No, not really. I actually started out with the marching men performing for pregame, so that was pretty cool. But I go get into costume right away. Wait, they told us we could eat, but then they're like, wait, you need food? But they did feed us. Then we just got into wardrobe almost like immediately, and we're just ushered over to the outside the stadium where our costumes were. And it's like, we waited until I want to say about 8 minutes in the second quarter, and then we put our costumes on and waited in line behind the stage crew. And once the quarter was over, stage crew went in, and we just slowly made our way because we were actually the last ones in. Which was, fun, but we had to suit up, I feel, way too early. The costumes were so heavy. And then, when stage crew was moved in, music started, showtime.
So have you done anything like this before? So this is a completely new experience.
Yeah, extremely new and huge experience.
Is it something you think you'd do again?
Definitely, if I had the time. It's a big time commitment.
The Super Bowl could always use more dancing palm trees.
I hope. It's the only thing I got on my resume so far.
This blew up on the internet. It was all over the place. That was actually how I found you, was through your AMA on Reddit. Yep. How did you feel by seeing all of this, like, destroying the internet, basically?
It was overwhelming. Like, I did not expect it to take off like it did. I wasn't a Shark, so I didn't think I'd get that much traction. But I started it the night before and woke up in the morning, and it was just took off, and it was insane. I had Time quoting me and USA Today. I just could not believe it. It was overwhelming.
Reddit was the website that I saw the most excited about the trees and the sharks from this performance. Like, checking all the different subreddits about news and entertainment. You didn't see anything about Katy Perry dancing and Katy Perry's performance. You saw the trees and the shark. Are you a frequent Redditor?
Yes.
So, did you make another account just for your AMA?
I actually didn't. Like, I tried. Well, I did. My Reddit history isn't that deep, so I didn't really care for a throwaway or a new account or anything. I just used my old one.
Your AMA was really successful. I remember seeing that it was happening, opening it up, and it was filled with questions. How complicated was that for you, doing that AMA, or what made you decide to do it?
It was actually my friend's suggestion. We were actually going to let my friend Nick do it, but he had issues with his mobile phone, and so I was just like, screw it. I'll do it. I'll get it. And it just took off, and I was like, what? I'm going to do this AMA right. I'm going to answer everyone's question. So, most of my Monday was dedicated to that AMA.
For anyone watching Texan Entertainment News, an explanation on AMA is an AMA is known as Ask Me Anything. It's a subreddit series of subreddits on reddit.com where users are able to ask people questions. The forums go by the format of I am blank, AMA meaning Ask Me Anything. So for him, it was, I'm one of the dancing palm trees in the Super Bowl, a halftime show, ask me anything you want to know, and users from the website are able to go ask questions. These things are really popular, and all kinds of people have done it. Robin Williams, who's done them before, they're big and well known, and yours is one of the most successful ones at the time. You were on the front page of Reddit, which is a pretty big accomplishment in itself. So a question that I know all the Redditors watching will enjoy, how many times were you gilded with gold during your AMA?
Actually, I only got gilded twice.
Really?
Yep. Oh. But I went from 150 Comet Karma to 26, almost 27,000.
Wow. comment karma for everybody. Reddit goes by a system of upvotes and downvotes. It's kind of like liking on Facebook when you like somebody's post or comment, except you also have the ability to say, no, I don't like it. And it takes the metrics and measures how many upvotes, how many downvotes to determine what your karma is. And karma is often known as internet points, internet currency almost on Reddit to determine people's merit. So was that your biggest boom in popularity so far, would you say, was on your Reddit AMA?
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
that's
do
crazy.
you have anything else you'd like to say to the people watching Texan Entertainment News about your experience?
And it was crazy. Like it was so overwhelming, but and if anyone gets that chance, I recommend you take it.
Well, thanks, Ryan. Everybody, this was Ryan Scott again. He was one of Katy Perry's dancing palm trees during her Super Bowl halftime performance. If you want to know more about what happened with him, you can go to reddit.com and search for his AMA. It'll be easy to find. Thanks, and have a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Texan Entertainment News. This show is produced by Alejandro Araguin and Katie Tonkin. We'll see you all next week.